Hello all. In this video, we shall discuss about the Langgraph AI agents. Okay. Now, first of all, let's discuss our motto. What's exactly we are going to achieve in this video? We are going to develop an AI agent. Okay, which, as per to the user's query, it's going to find its own tool and it provides us the answer. Okay, this is what we are going to develop. So, to develop this, first let's create a scenario. Okay, on what basis we have to code, right? So for that we shall create a scenario. The scenario is something like this: students going to question something. Okay, students going to have certain queries related to the languages, or else the cost of the of a particular course, or else at times certain students required a personal assistant, like the teacher has to give them the direct guidance. Okay, now once, as soon as user student poses the question, our AI agent is going to find its own tool and it's going to find the answer. That is what we are going to develop here. Okay, now before we start coding, let's understand the basic flow, how our code will work. Okay, now I guess you are able to see my flow. uh, Assume like this is our state graph. Okay, inside the state graph, what we are going to have is we are going to have the nodes. Okay, nodes are nothing but, you assume, like function, a simple function. Okay, now this function is going to get connected with another function with the help of the edge. Whatever the arrow which you are able to see over here, that you consider as like an edge. And at times we are going to have a conditional edge. Okay, what happens is, first this function, after completion of this function, this goes to here, and after completion of this function, it has to go to either this function or else this function. Okay, that will be decided by this node as per to the user's query. Okay, after this state graph we are going to compile it, then later user is going to pose some question, and we are going to deliver the answer. This is what we are going to develop today. Okay. Okay, now let me right now I have installed certain things and I have imported which are required. Now let me create a class. Okay, what's exactly the purpose of this class? Whatever inside the class, we are going to create some kind of keys. Sorry. Okay, inside the class we are going to create some keys, and that keys we will be able to access in all these functions. Okay, now let's create the class. Okay, this class is inherited with type. We are going to create the keys, and the type of this key is the string. Okay, okay, now this is nothing but which behaves like a dictionary. Okay, now inside this we have created the keys, and for those keys we have added its own type. Okay, now let me execute this. Now let me add the LLM. Okay, let me copy paste the code of the LLM. Now wherever I feel like it's going to consume time, I'm going to paste the code of it. Okay, now I have added the LLM and of the chart grok. Now inside this chart grok we need to add the API key. Okay, it is very simple. You can go to the Google and you can search like chart grok API key, and over there you have to log in and you'll be able to get the API key. Okay, In case if you feel like any difficulty in this, you can even comment me. I can even make another video on this. Okay. As of now, I'm pausing the video. I'll add the API key and we'll be back. Now I have added the API key. Let's test the API key. Okay, now our LLM is working. Now let's start adding the functions. Okay, now let me create a function. I will explain you what is this state. Now with the help of this state, whatever the keys which we have created above, right, inside the class we have created certain keys, right, like quotient and some more keys. So those all keys we can access inside this. Okay, now let me copy paste the prompt. Okay, now this prompt is saying nothing but categorize the question of the student, like either it is related to the language or else either it is related about a course. Okay, now let's create a chain. Now let's invoke this. Now over here we have to give exactly whatever the key name which we have created. Like we have created this key name, and this has to match with the that above key which we have created. And as I have said earlier, that whatever the keys which we have created, we can be able to access that. Now I will show you how we can access. Like just take this state. Now just add the key name. That's it. This is how we can access those keys. Okay, question in the sense question, or else course in the sense course name. Okay, now let's return. Note, whatever the key which I am adding here, that has to match with the above key which we have created. Okay, let's store the response inside this. Let me run this. Now let me create another function for the required personal support. Okay, let me copy paste the font of this. Now let's do the same thing whatever we did over here. Copy paste this whole. Okay, now even over here we are doing the same thing, like creating the chain, and we are getting the question, and as per to this prompt it is going to give us the response. But this cat this name has to be changed. We have to give the name which we have provided at the top. Okay, now let me run this. Now let me create another question, another function which is related to the course. This is the same thing. Let me copy paste this code. Now let me add some string dot string. Now this dot string is saying like as per the course name, return the amount of that course. Okay. Now let's add course information. I'm giving some random names and random numbers. Okay. Now I have created the course related information. Let me paste the prompt. Okay, this prompt is saying nothing but if as per to the course, just return the course name. Okay. Now next we have to do the same thing. Let's copy this code. Let's paste over here. Now what we are doing over here, just simple, we are getting the course name. Okay. Now we have to add the course name as well, something like this. Let me show you. Now over here what we are doing, we are getting the course name, so we have to pass over here, or else in case if course is not found, we have to mention as the course not found. Okay. Now we are going to return this course amount. Now this is the key which we have created above. Okay. Now let me return this course. Okay. Now let We try to run. I'm not sure why this is showing something like this. Yeah, because of implementation. Okay. Now, okay, I have executed. Now let me create another question, another function. Sorry. Now, now let me create this. Now we are just going to return the answer for this simple answer. Okay. Let me run this. Now let me create another function which is related to the languages. Okay. Now let me add a prompt as well. Okay. Now let me do this. On this one. Now this LLM is going to answer if any languages related questions have been posed by the student. Okay. Now our function creation has been completed. Now let's start creating the conditional edges related function. Okay. Now over here, what if you see this image, what's happening now? Till now what we did was like this. Okay, we have created the functions. Okay, we have individually, you assume we have individually created these functions. Now what we are going to do, we are going to create these conditional edges. It like for example, if this has responded something, as per to that either it has to choose this function or if this function, so that we are going to create. Now one more thing over here is like whatever the function which we are going to create now, that will not be part of this. The functions which are present over here is like what we have created till now, and what right now we are going to create, that will not be part of this because that is something related to the routing. Okay. Now let me create the route function. Now what we are writing, in case if about a course is present in subject category, so how we can access the subject category? By the help of this state. Just you need to mention the subject category. We have to give the same key what we have created at the top. Okay. Okay. In case if about a course is present in the subject category, then we are going to call this function. Okay. Now over here what I have done was like let me explain you step by step, by that it will be more clear for you. Okay, right now I have to write than of taking auto suggestions. It's better I have to write on my own. That will be more good. So we have to call this function get course amount. Okay. Now, right, this is the thing. Now what we did was, like, in case if this course about a course text is present in this subject category, then we have to call this function. Earlier we have created this function, right? Now in the same way, let me explain this as well. Let me remove this. Like, okay, now if this case is false, now what we are doing, if that subject category is related to the language, then we are going to call this function. Okay. Now the last and final, if the subject that mean if this required personal support, in that if we do have this, yes, I require the personal support, then we are going to call this function. Okay, that's simple. Let me, as however this is the last one, let me add select else than of creating another new one. Okay. Any indentation issue anywhere? Just give me a second, I'll be back. uh, Nothing, we have forgotten to give this, so yeah, that's why we are facing the issue. Okay. Now we have completed the route function. Now let's start to create this whole state graph, like nodes, edges, okay, conditional edges, all these this thing we are going to do right now. Okay. Now first of all, let me, now inside this we are going to pass the class. Like, if you do remember, at the top we have created a class, right? That's the same thing we have passed here. Okay. Now let's do this one. Yeah. Okay. Now let's start creating the nodes. I'll explain you once after completion of writing this node. I got authorization, so I have taken it. So I will explain you what is this. Nothing but over here we have created a node. Now here what we are doing, I have said like every function is a node, right? So we are going to add every function here. Okay, this is the function which we have created at the above, and this is the name. Actually you can give any name, but as of now this is more good to give the name exactly as like function. So I have created. Okay. In the same way I have created second node as well. Okay. In the same way I have created third node as well. Now there are even two more nodes which I have to create, like copy this code, paste this, inside this need to add. Okay. Now this, and I will create another node that is related to the provide support. Okay. Now we have created these functions. Okay, we have created every function as a node. Okay. Now what we are going to do, now we are going to create these edges. Okay, this part right now we are going to do it now. This is how we can create the edge, and in between what to what. Okay, right now it's providing auto suggestion, I'll take that. Okay, and let me remove this. Right now we are providing the edges between, that means we are going to provide the connection between this subject category wise function and as well as required personal support. Between these two we are going to create one edge. Okay, now let's create the conditional edge. Okay. Now inside these conditional edges, now as right now, first of all what we have done that this function has to be connected with this function. Okay, that means this function has to be connected with this function. Now what we are going to do over here, with this function we are going to create conditional edges. Now let's copy this function. Okay, now we have copied it. Now earlier we have created this route as per question, right? Now copy this. Now with the help of this we are going to get the required functions. Now which function? Let me, either it has to go to this function. Okay, now another function, let me, another function which we have to, okay, what we are doing over here is, first of all we are choosing the function. Okay, from this function we are going to take this route as per to the question. That means it is going to direct to another function. Okay, conditional edges. Now this we are going to choose what are those functions we have to get it. Either as per to the question, either it may choose this function or else this function or else this function. Okay, now we have added our conditional edge. Now let's add our end. Okay, I will explain you what is this line of code. So let me write this. Okay, okay, why we have kept end in the sense, now after completion of the whole flow, this is the last function, right? Either this is the last function or else this is the last function. So after this function what's happening, it's an end. So that's why either the function will be for this end or else it might be the end for this or else it might be for this. Okay, whatever the function names I have added over here, I have just pasted over here. Okay, now let's start our entry point. Entry point in the sense, first of all even we have to recognize, right, from where exactly this has to get started, right? So that's why we are adding this. Okay, now this is our entry function. Okay, now let's compile. Okay, now our whole process has been completed. But let me see why the issue is occurring. I'll be back again. Okay, actually issue was something like earlier our function name was something like this, but actually this this is acting like a key. If you do remember, earlier we have created a class. Inside that class we have created certain keys, right? So the function name and key are same, so that's why I had to change the function name. Even at the top I have changed the function name. See, this is the function name, but coming to the key is this. Okay, that's why it was throwing the error. So I did run this. Okay, now our we have completed our main important part. Now let's see how this graph looks like. I will add that code. This is the code for it. Now let's see how the graph which we have created will look like. Yes, this is how the above graph looks like. Okay, start, subject wise category, required personal support, course amount, language related questions, provide support, then it comes to that. Okay, now let's start posing the question. For example, let me ask this question. Now what I'm doing over here is like I'm taking this app, okay, and I'm just invoking the above question. Now take care that this key has to be matched with the our key which we have created at the top. Let me run this. Now if you see, we have received the amount. Okay, now in the same way, if I have asked some question related to that, let's see this. See, O Genki Desuka. Okay, this is how whole our AI agents will work. I hope you understood this video. Thank you for watching this video.